Hello everybody and welcome to Astro Pillars Astrology. My name's Samuel Dudgeon, practitioner of Chinese medicine and astrology, and I haven't done a video for a while and just been kind of working on my Substack, very busy in clinic, and there's a lot of things I want to put out there which are coming. So a lot of them will be probably on my Substack channel, which is there's a free subscription and a paid one. It's called Samuel's Astrology / Chinese Astrology. I have the link below if you guys want to join that. There's a lot of stuff on health and astrology, Chinese medicine, and some alternative kind of subjects coming up as well on that. But I really wanted to share today the unfortunate event that happened a few days ago in regards to Charlie Kirk, and I thought I'd never checked out his chart actually. I have listened to him quite a bit on and off over the years, and I've always been interested in debates and people's thoughts and thinking. So I just wanted to have a look at his chart because I think it's really, really unfortunate what happened. No one deserves to be taken out or professionally assassinated for speaking. It's just next level insanity, but this is the world we're living in now, I guess, and I think his death has obviously rattled the world, and I was definitely, surprisingly, really shaken up over this because I'm an advocate of truth, and it's just a shame that a very bright young man has been taken out for really probably like what Ayn Rand says, the hatred of good for being good, or something along those lines, and it's just incredible that this happened, and I think it has definitely rattled the world. But I'm not going to go into all that kind of political stuff because I was just very interested in him actually in terms of being a very kind of keynote speaker, a very confident speaker, and one who has, definitely a strong character. And I'm going to check out, which I've got here. Let's just have a look. I've got his charts up. I'm not sure if the actual time is right. I got this time off the internet. It does feel right to me. If anyone knows his time, please feel free to write in the comments below actually what it is, but it kind of resonated with me that it is, especially from his planetary. I think I got there 6:05. For those who don't know, to the left over here is a Chinese astrological chart, what's known as Bazi, 4 Pillars Chinese Astrology. A lot of people aren't really familiar with that, but I do both when I look into people's charts, and we can see that I got the time 6:05, but I think it is actually 6 a.m. That's what I found on the web, and that's what I've put here in the whole science house system. And let's have a look at this, because we'll start with the Chinese astrology, because the Chinese astrology, is born in the year of the yin water rooster, and this is what we call the 4 pillars: year, month, day, and hour. And usually we pivot around what they call the day master here, which is Yang Earth, and he's sitting on the dragon here. And this is actually what they call in Chinese astrology, because he's primarily using metal elements. So we've got to go by 5-element theory. Earth generates metal, Earth day master, and he has all these metals, especially the first half of his life, right? And he's not going to see the next half of his life, obviously, so he would have a chart that would change direction. But primarily the first half he's using his metal element. 2 roosters side by side, there's hidden yin metal in the stems. Earth produces metal, so that is your ability to speak and communicate. So he has one of those charts, what they call a follow output chart, or they can call it follow children, follow intelligence. Creativity. That's your output element, is your ability to express yourself. And people who want to express themselves like talking, they like debating, they'll have podcasts, right? They'll express themselves verbally. And primarily when you use the metal element, then you have an extremely meticulous, strong attention to detail, right? So metal element is very, very good at extracting the essence out of things and really very, very precise. They're actual wordsmiths. So we can clearly see part of his destiny is to do this. And by the way, looking at astrology for a gentleman like he was, being Christian, is probably very taboo. But anyway, I know the people who follow faith like that really don't like kind of subjects like astrology. But I found, anyway, I'm talking about it because this is what I do and what I love, because I think it's this, astrology is the sacred science, right? And actually in the Bible, when we get into that, there's a lot of references to it, biblical ones as well, particularly in the book of Job. And anyway, I'm not going to get into that kind of thing, but his character is interesting. Now, being born on the day of the Yang Earth Dragon is an extremely strong pillar to be born on. It's what they call, it's one of, I did a talk on my channel about resilience in the horoscope. This is what they call one of the Phi Kong pillars. It's a commanding pillar. The ancient Chinese, when they saw someone born on this day, they would make them a general or put them in charge of something. And usually they'd make them a leader in the army. It's quite commanding pillars as connected to military. Very strong, very disciplined, very masculine. And he was like that, right? He was very for the traditional roles of the man goes out, works, provide, the woman stays at home, brings up the kids, this kind of thing. But this is a very, very tough, resilient character. One who can stand up into the face of evil or can handle a lot of backlash. Obviously, he got a lot of death threats over the years. So this person is definitely going to be able to take it. And Phi Kong people born on these days, yeah, they're extremely tough. Extremely tough. So it's interesting that he is, and he's definitely got that, all that expression element. He's got the yin metal here, he's got the two roosters, and in Bazi, right, there's hidden stems, right? The roosters are considered kind of pure metal, and they have a yin metal stem within them, which is even more expression element. Yeah, so he's very good, very meticulous when it comes to the words. And, you know, when we check out his planetary astrology, I think probably one of the things that stood out to me, you know, South Node in Gemini, obviously like me, I have that too. And we can have this knack of acquiring a lot of facts from the past. We can be connected to a lot of information, just know how to accumulate it, how to decipher it, how to acquire it, this kind of thing. And it's interesting, and this is why I think the time was actually right for him, because he wasn't into what they call higher education, right? And you can tell the faith, the South Node in the ninth house, people can be coming from, if you want to look at past lives and things like that, can come from, say, very strong religious point of views that are inherently just within them when they're born. And when I look at this like aspect, like religion can actually be your undoing, or lack of it, not having a faith can be as well from this position. But it also rules the ninth house, higher education. So you can tell when he was going around talking at all these universities and things like this, right? He wasn't into educating himself, because a lot of people with the South Node in this position can already have a strong kind of philosophical base. And sometimes their education and higher education, they don't need to do it because they've already done that in the past. So his obviously nodal axis is all third house, right? Connecting to that third house, which is being the spokesperson, the speaker, the one who's his destiny is to be a communicator and a writer, and a podcaster, right? Because this is all third house stuff, really. And another thing that really, really interested me, obviously, when we look at this, is that this, especially when it comes to debating and being a spokesperson and then having Mercury and applying conjunction, it's a little bit wide, but it is applying to Pluto, gives one the detective mind, the genius for asserting self persuasively, very strong persuasive skills. And these kind of people, right, as he was, can be a spokesperson for those who lack courage to speak up for themselves. It's a very, very powerful combination. And we can see he's got that Martian principle, right? The Martian energy in conjunction with Mercury, which is going to take it to the next level in Scorpio, right? When Mars is in Scorpio, it's in its essence. Loves it. Mars in Scorpio is like the sniper. Can be extremely sharp, extremely resilient. Extremely resilient. And those two together, right, Mars and Mercury, will like debating, like arguing, like deciphering people's minds and to analyze what makes them tick. And obviously with the Sun in the first house in conjunction to Jupiter can give you that larger-than-life attitude and can give you, obviously, a lot of faith, right? Obviously he had his religion and things like this, but it can give you a boundless enthusiasm, actually. His is a kind of being in check, right? Because it's trine Saturn, which is actually quite a good thing in a way, because it balances out, because there can be a high chance of inflation of the self, right, when that happens. But so it's quite well balanced on that level. But the other thing is, which I found interesting, obviously the lord of his chart is Venus in the 12th house in Virgo, which can make men connected to the archetype of the Virgin, and that can give you the faith, right? Because 12th house can be coming from that place as well. But the other thing is he was actually born in what they call, which I found interesting, the balsamic lunar phase, right, which is the dark side of the moon. We can see where the positions of the moon and the sun here. And what I find interesting about that is the balsamic phase is all about endings. And it can also, when people are born under that phase, a lot of people come in and out of your life, quite a lot. And so it's almost like, and he was, right? Obviously he's out there, he's talking, would have met a lot of people, then you never kind of see them again and things like this. But I found it interesting that what tied in here with his, obviously the end of his life, right? He just really got out of that balsamic, he just completed his lunar return. It's almost like he completed this kind of cycle. And the balsamic moon phase is kind of the dark side of the moon. It's not an easy phase to be born under on a psychological level. And I would also say too, just from his Ba Chinese astrology, he's in a fire year or a fire cycle. So he's coming from the horse here. I think he's actually 31. He's about to click over into this. 31 or 32, I can't remember how old he is, but he's had the horse and now the yin fire stem coming up for those cycles. And the fire is probably the most unfavorable element for him because he's using metal. And fire by nature attacks metal, scorches it, melts it. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that can indicate assassinations and things like this. I haven't checked out the transits. I mean, I would say clearly we can see that Uranus has moved into Gemini, transiting the south node at the moment. So, I mean, eccentric people, it wouldn't be favorable to be around all those lefties at this point in time, that's for sure, because eccentric people can be your undoing. And obviously he was surrounded by them at the campus as he was going on. Not everyone was like that. Some very good people who spoke with him, and then you get the radical types. Uranus can stimulate that, and then when it comes into the South Node, and this is where he was, right? He was constantly in the colleges, which is all 9th house, higher education. So eccentric people can be really your undoing, and obviously Uranus does rule assassinations. I mean, there's a few other things you need to go on for that. That's just, I'm not saying that would have happened, but obviously it has. But there's a few other things. Assassinations are usually ruled by the planet Uranus, Mars, and obviously they're a 12th house type scenario. And it's interesting how the eclipse has fallen into the 6th house, the lunar one, into Pisces, and the South Node into the 12th. And obviously it's affected his Mercury, this eclipse, right? Because it's 15 degrees, his Mercury, whereas the lunar eclipse was 15 degrees in Pisces. It was trining. But an eclipses reveal things that are hidden. But definitely a fated spokesperson of some kind, for sure. Definitely with all this output element, extremely meticulous, extremely detailed, quick, sharp, razor-sharp mind, like a sword, which metal element represents. And I have to say, I have a lot really enjoyed listening to this young man talk. And, you know, it's really, really sad, and I was pretty shocked, actually. I guess because I have listened to him quite a bit over the years, and I'm sure it is pretty shocking for Americans at this point in time. And judging from what I've seen on the web, yeah, it's definitely affected the world and the world stage. And I think people are going to rise up stronger after this, because what's going on now, when we're losing our ability to articulate ourselves and speak without being labeled something, that is not true most of the time, you just get shut down before you can voice your opinion, is just really, I mean, if you can't defend free speech, then there's really not much point being here, in my opinion. And sadly, you know, he was shot. He was wearing the Freedom t-shirt, for God's sake. So, yeah, really sad. But anyway, this is my take on Charlie Kirk's chart, and really, really sad, an unfortunate event. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So any questions, you can comment below if you like, and I'll do some more videos, which will be on the way shortly.